Hello everyone, I'm Farzana Akter, a student of Department of Computer Science and Engineering at Southeast University. My ID is 024. Today I am going to present a research paper. The name of the paper is Identity-Spoofing Prompt Injection Empirical Analysis of Insertion Leakage in Custom GPT. This research investigate a crucial security issue in modern AI systems, specifically the custom GPT. And as the adoption of AI assistant continue to grow, protecting hidden system, instruction, and knowledge-based information has become increasingly important. This study examine how attacker can exploit identity spoofing technique to gain the unauthorized access to confidential information through simple conversational interaction. Throughout the presentation, I will discuss the background of the study and the research gap, the problem statement methodology part, the key finding, and the security implementations of the result. So let's begin with the background study. So um, this is the background study of that paper. Before discussing the research itself, it is important to understand the background of this study. In recent years, custom GPT have become increasingly popular because they allow user and organization to create AI assistant, specialized instruction and knowledge. These assistants are now widely used in areas such as education, customers support, then research and business operation. However, as their adoption grow, the security and privacy content concern have also become more significant. Custom GPT contain hidden system prompts and upload knowledge files that may include the sensitive or proprietary information. Unlike the traditional system, thus assist are primarily protect through the conversational boundaries. At the same time, if we go to the next slide for the background theory, at the same time, the prompt engineering attack, injection attack, have emerged as one of the most serious security threat to large language model. By crafting specific prompts, attacker can manipulate the model behavior and potentially bypass its intended restrictions. One particularly concerning technique is identity spoofing, uh, where uh, where an attacker pretend to be a creator, developer, or a administrator. This impression can convince the model to reveal the confidential instruction of or knowledge based content. Despite the growing importance of this issue, there is still limited empirical research on how the effective identity spoofing attack are against publicly available custom GPT. Therefore, understanding this vulnerability is essential for improving the security, the privacy, and trustworthiness of AI. So next, go to the next slide. Um, okay, go to the next slide is the research gap in this presentation. Although the previous study have identified the prompt injection as a serious security threat in large language model application, several important research gaps remain. First, there is an assumption gap. Most existing study assume that the attacker already possess the additional advantage, such as the file identifier, external metadata, then tool execution capabilities, or prior knowledge of the target system. However, this assumption may not reflect the capabilities of ordinary user interacting with publicly available custom GPTs. Second one is the attacker strategy gap. While the general prompt injection and the prompt extraction attack have been widely studied, identity spoofing attack have received limited attention in like administrators or authorized reviewer to gain access to protect information. Finally, there is an evaluation graph. There is an there is an evaluation gap, that is existing research lacks systematic measurement of how identity spoofing insertion, disclosure, knowledge base, metadata leakage, and overall confidentiality risks in custom GPT. Therefore, this study addressed this gap by evaluating the effectiveness of identity spoofing and prompt injection under a realistic prompt only attacker model. So let's go to the our next discussion topic, um, that is our problem statement. What is the problem behind this paper? So first, the problem in this paper, the problem address in this study is that custom GPT store sensitive creator provided assist, including like hidden system instruction and uploaded knowledge base documents. This asset are protected mainly through the conversational safeguard rather than the traditional security mechanism. Previous research has shown that the prompt injection attack can manipulate the behavior of large language model or LLM model and potentially expose the confidential information. Among this attack, identity spoofing prompt injection is particularly concerning because attacker can um, impersonate the trusted roles such as the creator, the developer, and the administrator through the natural language interaction. Although the earlier study have demonstrated that the prompt and the knowledge leakage in LLM system, this effectiveness of identity spoofing attack under a realistic prompt only attacker model have not been thoroughly investigate. Then we go to our next part, that is the scope of this research. So this slide define the scope of our research. First, the study focus on identity spoofing, prompt injection as a confidentiality threat in custom GPT. The goal is to determine whether an attacker can obtain protected information simply through the conversational and interaction without any special privilege. The target system are publicly assemble and store the prominent custom GPT available in the GPT store. Then this GPT may contain the hidden system instruction and in the some cases uploaded knowledge bases. The threat model assume a prompt only and tool free attacker. In other words, the attacker is a normal user with no creator privilege, no administrative access, and no prior knowledge of the system. All attackers are performed using natural language prompts and multi-turn conversation. This study evaluates the several protected assets, including the hidden system prompt, um, knowledge base metadata such as file name and title, knowledge base content, uh, retrieval related guidance that could help access protect information. Finally, the evaluation measure how effective identity spoofing prompts are in causing system instruction disclosure, knowledge base metadata leakage, and knowledge base content leakage. And this helps us to understand the real confidential risks and posted by identity spoofing attack, like publicly available custom GPT, in publicly available custom GPTs. For this, then we go to the our next slide, that is our literature review. So before conducting our research, it was important to understand what the previous studies have discovered about the security risks of large language model or LLM models. Many researchers have identified the prompt injection as one of the most significant security threat in AI system. Prompt injection occur when an attacker provide specially crafted instruction designed to manipulate the model behavior, and instead of following it is intended guideline, the model may be influenced to ignore the restrictions, reveal information or performance actions that were not originally intended by the developer. Several studies have demonstrated that the prompt injection attacks can be surprisingly effective, and even advanced language model can sometimes be persuaded to bypass the safety mechanism when the present with when present with carefully designed prompts. This has raised concern about the reliability and the security of the AI powered application. Another important area of this research focus on the prompt extraction, also known as the prompt stealing attack. Researchers have shown that the attacker may be able to recover the hidden system prompt that guide a model behavior. These system prompts are typically invisible to normal user and contain important instruction, like operational rules and personal settings or workflow details defined by the creator. And if these hidden instructions are exposed, then attacker may gain valuable insight into how the system um, operates and potentially use the knowledge to launch the further attack. And in addition to hidden prompt, researchers have also um, investigate the security of knowledge source concerned to language model. Many AI applications rely on like documents external documents like the database or uploaded file to provide the specialized information. Study have shown that under certain circumstances, attacker may be able to access or extended information from this protected resources through conversational interaction alone. With the introduction of custom GPT, this concern have become even more prevalent. Custom GPT allow creator to build a personalized AI assistant by combining hidden system instruction with uploaded knowledge file. This GPT often publicly accessible through the GPT store, meaning that anyone can interact with them. As a result, they represent the attracted target for attacker who wish to uncover the confidential insertion or prosperity knowledge. Previous research have already report uh, cause where the hidden prom or uploaded documents with custom GPT could be partially or fully exposed. This finding suggests that the conversational interfaces should not be considered a strong security boundary for protecting the sensitive information. However, despite the growing body of research on prompt injection and instruction leakage, most existing study focus on a general attack techniques such as like direct prompt injection and role play attack. Also, the jailbreak or the prompt execution methods. Also, comprehensively little attenuations have been give to identify spoofing attack, where an attacker impersonate a trusted individual such as the GPT creator, the administrator, developer, or system owner is in an attempt to gain the privileged information. Because this specific attack strategy has received limited empirical investigation, there remain a significant research gap regarding its effectiveness and real-world impact on custom GPT security. These gaps serve as the primary motivation for our study, which aim to evaluate whether the identity spoofing injection can successfully leak the hidden instruction and the confidential knowledge for publicly accessible custom GPT. So next we go to our next slide, that is our methodology part in this paper. So this is our methodology part. To conduct this study, the researcher performed a comprehensive measurement-based evaluate of 57 store prominent custom GPT that were publicly available in GPT store. These GPT were selected because they were highly visible and widely accessible, making them representative target or for real world attackers. And this study adopt a prompt only attacker model. This means the attacker had no special privilege, no access to backend system, no developer permission, and no extended tool. The attacker could only interact with the GPT through normal conversational prompt, just like any regular user. This approach was chosen to simulate a realistic attack scenario and evaluate whether the sensitive information could leak through conversational alone. To ensure the consistency across all evaluated GPT, the researcher follow a structured four-stage evaluation protocol. Stage 1 focus on obtaining hidden system insertion. In this phase, the research attempts to determine whether the GPT would reveal its confidential system prompt, internal rules, behavioral guidance or guidelines, or other hidden instruction that were intended to remain secret. The next stage is the stage 2. This is stage 2 focus on the knowledge based metadata disclosure. Here the researcher examine whether they could obtain information about uploaded file, such as the file name, documentation title, then or other metadata associated with the GPT knowledge base. Even if the actual content was not exposed, revealing metadata could still provide valuable information to an attacker. Then we go to the next stage, our stage 3, that is focus on the content extraction. The researcher attempt to retrieve the actual information for upload the knowledge file. This stage was particularly important because uploaded documents may contain the property information, educational material, business resources, or others sensitive data that the creator expect to remain protected. Then we go to our next stage, the last stage or the final stage, stage 4. In stage 4, the examined retrieval guidance and download related disclosure. The researcher investigate where the GPT would reveal the detail about how information was stored, how information was retrieved and accessed or downloaded. Such disclosure could help attacker to understand the system internal structure and potentially facilitate the future attack. After completing the fourth stage, the researcher analyzed that the result using four disclosure category. The first category was the system prompt leakage, which measure whether the hidden instruction were exposed. The second category is the metadata leakage, which evaluate whether the information and the uploaded file or knowledge sought were disclosed. The third category was the content leakage, which measure whether the actual content from the knowledge base could be extracted. And the fourth category, that was retrieval the disclosure, which assessed whether the GPT revealed the information about the retrieval mechanism, file access method or download related instruction. By applying this methodology, and applying this methodology like consistently across all 57 custom GPT, the researcher were able to systematically access the confidentiality risks associated with the identity spoofing prompt injection attack, determine how vulnerable publicly accessible custom GPT are to information leakage. Now we go to our next slide, that is our result part. This is the figure of this methodology. If anyone cannot understand properly the methodology, they can easily understand this figure. That's why I provide it. Then our next slide is the result part. Here in this result part, the result of the study reveal a significant security concern regarding the confidentiality custom GPT. The most important finding was that identity spoofing attack was highly successful in extracting information that was intended to remain hidden from user by simply pretending to be an authorized individual, such as the GPT creator. That was I first told, that is the creator, the developer or the administrator or the attacker were often able to convince the system to disclose to protect the information. Out of 57 custom GPT evaluate in the experiment, 15 GPT reveal their hidden system instruction. This corresponded to disclosure rate of 87.7%, that we show in this figure. I think that you all are see the figure. I will also attach here a figure. So in this figure you will see that 87.7% is the disclosure rate, which is the extremely high, since the system prompts contain the internal rules, behavioral guidance and operational instruction that define how GPT function. Exposing this prompt represent a serious confidentiality failure. The researcher also found the evidence of knowledge-based information leakage among the GPT that contain uploaded knowledge file. Uh, Knowledge file may disclose metadata association with those files. This include information such as the file name, documents, identifiers, and other details that were intended to remain hide. Although the metadata may seems less sensitive than actual content, it can provide the attacker with the valuable clues about the structure and the purpose of the knowledge base. In several cases, the attacker went even further. Some GPT not only reveal the metadata but also reproduce the portion of the actual contents sorted in the knowledge base. This means that uh, the information uploaded by the creator could potentially be extracted through ordinary conversation, creating additional risks for privacy, intellectual property, and confidentiality business information. Another important observation was that the vulnerability was not limited to a specific type of GPT. The researcher evaluated the GPT from the multiple category and found that information uh, leakage occurred across nearly all of them. This suggests that the problem is widespread rather than isolated to a few poorly configured systems. Particularly concerned was the fact that is prompting and other category experience 100% disclosure rate, meaning that every evaluated GPT in this category leaked its hidden instruction when subjected to identity spoofing attack. Such results indicate that the certain category may be especially vulnerable to this attack technique. Overall, if I say, the finding clearly demonstrate that the identity spoofing technique or identity spoofing prompt injection is a highly effective method, attack method. Even without administrative privilege, technical exploits or backend access or external tool, attacker was frequently able to obtain the sensitive information through the conversational interaction alone. This result highlight a major weakness in the security assumption of the custom GPT and suggests that the conversational interface should not be rely upon a strong confidential boundary for protecting hidden instruction and uploaded knowledge researches. So next we go to our next part, that is our conclusion part in this presentation. So in conclusion, this study demonstrate the identity spoofing prompt injection that is highly effective attack against the custom GPT that I told in at first. The researcher introduced the identity spoofing as a destined attack strategy and provide a empirical evidence of effectiveness across publicly available GPTs. The results suggest that the conversational safeguard alone are not significant to protect the sensitive the creator provide access. Attacker can exploit trust authority through the natural language insertion to obtain the confirmational information. Therefore, the stronger security mechanism are required to protect the hidden system prompt and knowledge base as asset in future AI system. So next we go talk about the future work about of this research. So that is our next slide. The future work. um, for future work, this study can be extended by evaluating a larger or more diverse set of custom GPT, including the randomized and long-term examples long-time samples. This would help the researcher to understand the how vulnerable change over time and platform update. Another important direction is the development of standardized evaluated protocols so that different prompt injection attack, including the identity spoofing, can be compared consistently across system. Further, the future research should also focus on the testing defense against the multi-turn social engineering attack rather than the relying on relying on like the simple refusal mechanism. Finally, the AI developer should aim to balance the security and usability by protecting sensitive information while still maintaining a helpful user experience. Um, Next is our reference slide, which references use in this paper. So this is the key references that support this research. This study is based on the prior work related to the prompt injection attack, like the prompt extraction, prompt stealing, adversarial machine learning, and security risks in custom GPT. In addition, the official OpenAI researches were used to understand the architecture and the functionality of GPT, like and the GPT store. These references provide the theoretical foundation of the research and the context for evaluating the identity spoofing from spoofing prompt injection attack. This is the reference part. Now we go to our um, last slide. With that, I have reached the end of the presentation. Thank you all for your valuable time and attention. I hope this presentation is has provided useful insight into the security risks and associate with the identity spoofing prompt injection in custom GPT. I would be happy to answer any question or discussion any part of the research further. Thank you all.